Yo, what is good, Jets Nation? Welcome back to Jets Media. This is Richie, and welcome to the first video of the offseason where we're kind of recapping what happened in this past season. Obviously, we're going to be breaking down what the Jets are going to be doing in the offseason, whether that's adding new players, getting rid of the players on the roster, making some trades, signing new players, the NFL draft, free agency. You guys know there's a lot of content coming your way in terms of covering the offseason, but I also want to make sure we recap the season that just happened because I feel like, with the 7-10 season, missing the playoffs, losing 6 in a row, it was definitely a big-time disappointment, but I do feel like there's a lot of things to look forward to for the future, and in this video, I do want to break down my grades for each position group. So throughout the entire season, how did each position group look? And I'm going to give each of them a letter grade, and you guys can feel free to comment down below your grades for each position down below in the comment section. Love to hear what you guys have to say, of course. And if you're new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button and like the video if you guys enjoy. It really does help out the channel a lot, guys, if you can simply smash that thumbs up button. Now, let's get straight into the video. So we're going to start off with the offense. Now, the offense definitely is not going to be as good as the defense. Now, these are tough grades to hand out because you really want to look at it in a perspective of the production, comparatively speaking to the, other positions around them. How did it impact winning? How did they, impact losing as well? So let's start off with the quarterback position. So I got the quarterback position with a letter grade of a C. Well, we saw 3 different quarterbacks for the New York Jets. We saw Zach Wilson, we saw Mike White, we saw Joe Flacco, we even saw Chris Streveler, so you consider 4 if you really wanted to. But those are the 3 guys that started for us. And the reality is, not good. Not good from any of these quarterbacks. I feel like in total, I think the stats were like 14 touchdowns, 14 interceptions in all 17 games through Joe Flacco, Mike White, and Zach Wilson. So that's not going to get it done. A C grade for the quarterback position. Obviously, we're not going to give the quarterback position any love in this video because it was a big reason why the New York Jets fell apart. And it's really unfortunate because that's going to be the biggest question mark heading into this season. Is the quarterback position going to be solved with a veteran quarterback? Are they going to trade for one? Are they going to sign one free agency? They're going to run it back with Mike White and Zach Wilson. Who knows what they'll do? We got a lot of things to talk about in the future. But when you break down this season for the New York Jets, Joe Flacco in the first 3 weeks, he was actually top 5 in the league in passing yards, if you think about it. But Joe Flacco, obviously, he gave us that miraculous victory against the Cleveland Browns. Thank you, Joe, for getting us 1 win. And then Zach Wilson returns, and he is simply just not the reason why we're winning. We were winning with Zach at the beginning of the season, but we all know why. It was because of the defense. It was because of the run game, and Zach was playing turnover-free football. And then the Zach Wilson nightmare happened. Mike White comes out there. He has a good game against the Chicago Bears, who are literally the worst team in the league. And then Mike White had quality games against the Vikings, and then he gets injured against the Bills, and then we just can't win. So obviously the quarterback position is going to get a letter C grade from me. Now let's get into the running back room. Now this was a tough grade because we all know that the big reason why the running back situation is not as good as we'd like is because of the Breece Hall injury. So I actually give the running back room a B. I think that if Breece Hall was healthy all season long, this would have been an A. But when Breece Hall went down, the running back room kind of fell apart. We saw little glimpses of Zonovan Knight all of a sudden can be that guy that's going to really put some spark into that running game, but unfortunately that kind of fizzled out. It was kind of like 2 games of Zonovan Knight looking good, but I gave it a B because honestly, if you're looking at the end of the season, it should be an F because the run game was so bad, and a big reason why this team fell apart late in the season was because we cannot establish a run game. So Breece Hall, he led the Jets in rushing yards, even though he only played in like 6 games, so that's pretty ridiculous. I think he had like 400 and something yards. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. And then Michael Carter and Zonovan Knight and James Robinson behind him didn't even come close to his rushing total. So that tells you how bad the running backs were around Breece Hall. A big-time disappointment from Michael Carter in year number 2. Can't sugarcoat that enough. I was expecting a lot more from Michael Carter, especially when Breece Hall went down. So that'll be interesting to see how they attack the running back position in the offseason to really try to bring back somebody to help out Breece Hall. Ty Johnson kind of had some type of spark. And like I said, Zonovan Knight looked good in those first 2 games or 3 games, and then he kind of fell off. So that's my letter grade for the running backs. Wide receivers. I got wide receivers at a B+. Now, I know this is a high grade, but the big reason is because of Garrett Wilson. Now, he is the bright spot of the wide receiver room. If it wasn't for Garrett Wilson just literally carrying this entire receiver room, it would not be this high. But the reality is Garrett Wilson put up ridiculous numbers as a rookie. over 1,100 yards, around 84 catches, 4 touchdowns. The first Jets receiver to get over 1,000 yards since 2015. He broke every single rookie record for the New York Jets in terms of receptions and yards. So as a position group, he is the big reason why it's at a B+. The season that he had individually, we have not seen from a Jets receiver in so long, and it was from a freaking rookie, guys. So Garrett Wilson is here to stay, and he is going to be the Jets' #1 receiver for the foreseeable future. Around him, you can definitely say it was a big disappointment. Obviously, Elijah Moore, we were expecting big things from him in year number 2. And he requests a trade. He was not happy with his role. Zach Wilson had no connection with him. He requests a trade. The Jets bench him for a game. He comes back. He starts getting a little bit more involved. But overall, Elijah Moore just was not that productive this season. Corey Davis, another season of an up-and-down roller coaster of his not being able to stay healthy on the field and being inconsistent with, catches. He did have some games where he was clutch in the fourth quarter, and he wasn't awful. But Corey Davis definitely did not live up to what I was hopeful for in his second season with the New York Jets. And then around that, Denzel Mims, he looked okay when his name was called. Braxton Berrios was kind of a disappointment. Obviously, he dropped that big touchdown against the Vikings. So that's my letter grade for the wide receivers, B+. The tight end room, I kind of have the tight ends at like a B-. I feel like the tight ends, they were solid, and the reason why it's a B-, and maybe people might say, Richie, that's a little high for the tight ends. They didn't really have that much impact this season. I give them the benefit of the doubt because they were durable, man. Conklin and Uzama, they stayed healthy all season long, and I think a lot of people need to put more respect onto the players on this team that can actually stay healthy because it's a big piece to winning, is being able to stay healthy, being a durable player, and I feel like the tight end room was overall very healthy for us this season. But when it comes to the production on the field, Tyler Conklin, he had an okay season, definitely a lot of ups and downs. He had some drop issues. He had some games against the Patriots, if I remember. He had a spectacular game in that one. But overall, the consistency wasn't there from the tight end room. A lot of drops, not really a lot of string together a bunch of games. The blocking was inconsistent. They weren't helping out in the run game late in the year. So my overall grade from the tight end room when it comes to Tyler Conklin and CJ Uzama is a B-. I'm hopeful that we can see Jeremy Ruckert more next year because we saw him against the Dolphins in that last game of the season. He looked like a dog in the run game. And I really was hopeful that this tight end room can be a big piece to this offense because we know that in this scheme, the tight ends are a big piece to the puzzle. So B- is my grade. I could have gave him a C+, but I was being a little generous with that. So let me know your thoughts, of course, down below. Now, the offensive line. Now, this offensive line, man, injuries is going to be the big reason why for this grade. C, maybe C+. The offensive line, man, Elijah Vera Tucker, superstar, goes down. Mekhi Becton, before the season begins, goes down. Dwayne Brown, we bring him in. Oh, he's down. Oh, George Fant, you're down. Max Mitchell, you look like a great rookie. Oh, you're down. So, we're talking about an offensive line that literally cannot stay healthy at all. But the reason why it's such a low grade is because when we needed this offensive line to be at full strength and playing at their utmost potential, regardless of injuries, they just fell short. And that was at the end of the season. When we needed to play our best football late in the year, this offensive line was not there. And I know that injuries were a big reason for that, but also the players that were healthy. Lincoln Tomlinson, I think we can all agree, big-time disappointment in his first year with the New York Jets. Connor McGovern at center, he definitely was an up-and-down year. There were some plays on the film where I was very impressed with Connor McGovern, other times not so much. But you do got to give credit to those two players, McGovern and Tomlinson. Those are the only two guys that were able to stay healthy all season long. Around them, it was a revolving door. Dwayne Brown, he deserves a lot of credit. Selfless warrior. Literally could have elected to shut down the season, get a surgery on his shoulder, but instead he played through that injury throughout the entire season after he came back in week 5 or week 6, I believe. And then at right guard and right tackle, Elijah Vera Tucker goes down. Nate Herbig plugs in. He looks great, but then he's playing with an injury. George Fant, not like his old self. So I think we all know the current state of this offensive line was a big-time disappointment in terms of being able to stay healthy. We could not finally see what this offensive line can do, and I'm hopeful for next season we get a healthy Mekhi Becton, a healthy Elijah Vera Tucker. Maybe we draft an offensive tackle in the first round, and this offensive line is healthy and it's good to go for next season and beyond, because that's the biggest issue, man. I really believe if this offensive line was healthy, if we had Mekhi last year, we had Elijah Vera Tucker last year all season long, this offensive line would have been in the B's, potentially B+. And it's really, really frustrating because we were not able to protect the quarterback or run the ball at all in the clutch. So that's why I have such a low grade for this offensive line, and that's one of the biggest, question marks heading into this offseason and priorities, and we all know that. Now let's transition to the defense, because the defense is going to have a little more positive things to talk about. We're going to start off with the safety position. The safeties I have at a solid B. Now, I know that Jets fans aren't too fond with our safeties. LaMarcus Joyner, Jordan Whitehead, they want to replace them both. I think Jordan Whitehead's going to be here next year. Now, I don't think LaMarcus Joyner will, but I think Whitehead will be our starting safety next season. And now I think Jordan Whitehead, starting off with him, he had a solid season. He wasn't great. He wasn't terrible at the same time. Did he have some plays where he missed tackles? Absolutely. Did he have some plays where he made big-time plays? He did as well. I feel like it was a season for Jordan Whitehead where he made some plays in coverage, he had some pass breakups, he had some interceptions, he had a lot of miscommunications early on in the season with the secondary. He wasn't able to, wrap people up in terms of proper angles on the run stopping, which you would like to see him improve on. And it was an up and down season for Jordan Whitehead. It wasn't a year where we're looking like, Jordan Whitehead is a star. But I also don't think he's a bum. I don't think Jordan Whitehead is any type of scrub where he's like, oh my God, this guy's a liability. We need to get rid of him immediately. We signed him to a 3-year contract, and I personally have confidence in him being our starting strong safety next year. But when it comes to the free safety position, I would love the Jets to replace LaMarcus Joyner with somebody else, whether that's via the free agency, the draft, or even the trades. You got to give a shout out to Tony Adams, though. I'm a big fan of Tony Adams. I think he has a chance to fight for that starting job next year, if not just be the backup. But yeah, that's my grade for the safety position, a letter B. Definitely one of the weakest points of the defense. Cornerback, A. You can even say A+, man. I mean, this cornerback room had the best season you can ever ask for. I mean, you look at the stats. The Jets defense did not allow one quarterback to get 300 yards. Not once. The quarterback to put up the most yards against the Jets back in week 3 against the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow, and that was 275. Not one quarterback has put up more than 275 yards in that defense. The Jets defense also did not allow more than one receiver to get over 100 yards. That was week 4 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. George Pickens was the only one to be able to put up 100 yards on the Jets defense. And you got to think about all the receivers that the Jets went up against. Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs twice, Tyreek Hill twice, Jamar Chase, just to name a few. This Jets secondary and Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, Michael Carter II, they absolutely just blew away any of our expectations heading into their first season together for the New York Jets. Sauce Gardner is literally played like the best corner in the NFL as a rookie. He had a historical season. I'm wearing his merch right now, Lost in the Sauce. Shout out Sauce Gardner. Hopefully he wins Defensive Rookie of the Year, which I think it's pretty much a lock. He led the NFL in pass breakups with 20. You kidding me? He only had 2 interceptions, and DJ Reed only had 1, and Michael Carter II, I think, only had 1, should have had a pick 6. But overall, man, you cannot have asked for a better season with the corners. The defense as a whole, the issue was never passes down the field, never in the perimeter. The issues with the defense later on in the season was we weren't able to stop the run, and the tight ends were getting open over the middle, and they were checking it down to running backs, and that was the issue. It was more the linebackers and safeties. The corners never were an issue all season long. So that's an A, borderline A+. I think what would make it an A+ is if, Sauce and DJ Reed started getting a little more interceptions. That would have made it an A+. Linebackers. I got the linebackers at a B+. Now, I know linebackers definitely is interesting, right, in terms of the Jets fan perspective. Some Jets fans want C.J. Mosley out of here. Get him out of here. I could not disagree more. C.J. Mosley does not deserve the credit from Jets fans, in my opinion. He's a Pro Bowler for a reason. He's a captain for a reason. Now, did he have some plays where he looked a little slow, where he had that penalty? He, gave up a play in coverage. Yes, he's not perfect. He's not a, all-time great linebacker that's the best linebacker in the NFL. You got to look at it in the perspective of he is the quarterback of this defense. He is the team leader of this defense. He is the guy that holds everybody accountable. And without C.J. Mosley, guys, this defense would not be as good as it is. And I'm telling you that right now. Because he is the one that is telling everybody what play it is. He's the guy that is the quarterback, the vocal leader. And he's someone in the locker room also where when he's speaking, everyone shuts up and listens. So you need a guy like that has a voice that needs to be heard. And that's what C.J. Mosley brings to this team. And I don't understand the C.J. Mosley slander. I really don't. I understand that he's getting up there in age. And his cap is a lot. He restructured his deal before the season, by the way. So he's definitely a little selfless, more selfless than you think. And I think C.J. Mosley is a big piece of this team. Also, Quincy Williams. Excellent season for the Jets. Quan Alexander, excellent season for the Jets. Could they have been better in the Pass coverage, absolutely. Were they perfect? No, they were not, which is why they're not in the letter A grade, but I definitely think they deserve a B+. Now, Quincy Williams and Quan are both free agents, so we'll see if they will be brought back, but I actually think the linebacker unit exceeded our expectations heading into the season, because if you remember back in August, we were like, oh my God, our linebackers are going to suck, but they definitely stepped up and exceeded expectations in my opinion. Getting into the defensive line, I give them an A, I think, or maybe A-, I would say, because Quinnen Williams, superstar, right? He had the best season of his career, 12 sacks. I mean, like, just ridiculous numbers. Quinnen Williams, he deserves to get paid. Hopefully that the Jets take care of him in the offseason. He's a Jet for life. But outside of Quinnen Williams, Carl Lawson had a very underrated season. I know Jets fans had this expectation for Carl Lawson to be like this Superman, but you can't expect that coming off an Achilles. He had a solid career-high season, actually, with sacks. I think he had 7 sacks. He was getting to the quarterback. He wasn't disrupting games like you'd want, but Carl Lawson had a solid freaking season. John Franklin Myers, solid season. Sheldon Rankins, one of the most underappreciated players on that defensive line. He's a pending free agent. Jermaine Johnson and Michael Clemens, they had very good rookie seasons, especially Jermaine Johnson, because I feel like he really showed up in the run support. He had pivotal plays against the Buffalo Bills. Love what I saw from Jermaine Johnson. Can't forget about Bryce Huff, who was screaming off the edge in third down pass rushing opportunities. And other guys that stepped in, like Nathan Shepard, deserve some love. Solomon Thomas. It was a very deep unit, and I think this defensive line was the anchor and the reason why the defense was so good this season in terms of, exceeding. Last year, we were last in the league. This year, we were top in the league because of our defensive line. So I'm definitely going to give the defensive line some benefit of the doubt here. And then to finish it off, we're not going to talk about it too much, but you got to bring up special teams. Kicker, Greg Zuerlein, I'm giving him a solid B. He was really good to start off the season. Well, the first week he was trash against the Ravens, and then he was really good from like week 2 to like week, 10 or something, and then he kind of started missing some clutch field goals. So I give him a solid B. He hit all of his extra points for the most part. He was like 29 of 35 or something like that for the season. But I feel like Greg Zuerlein, I like what I saw from him, man. He hit his field goals when he needed to. And then Braden Mann, the punter, I give him a C+. He finished off the season strong against the Dolphins, but overall it's not going to do that good, man. Jets fans are over Braden Mann, and I'm sure we all want to get rid of him. But yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about the kickers and punters. But yeah, man, let me know your thoughts. That's my position grades for the New York Jets. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments if you guys agreed with anything, if you disagreed with anything. Love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section down below. Of course, this was a hard, video to make, but to give you guys my overall thoughts, man, I feel like a lot of positions exceeded expectations, and definitely some position groups did not meet expectations, like offensive line due to the injuries. Tight end did not meet my expectations. Quarterback obviously did not meet my expectations. Cornerback and the corners, that exceeded my expectations for sure. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments, guys. Like the video if you guys enjoy, and also comment down below a Jet emoji if you stayed all the way until the end of the video. I'll catch you guys next time. Let's go Jets. Peace.